What's up, guys? I think this is live. Is this live? Yes, this is live. Okay, so I just left the office and I wanted to show you guys how fucking simple and easy it is to meal prep for the next day. I just left the office. It says it is 1:14 and I will be back in about 30 minutes. So I want to show you how quick and easy it is to meal prep. I live extremely close, so obviously that's my advantage. But that was the whole intention of getting this apartment, pulling into the house. The whole purpose of this was to show that I also didn't prep anything. So I'm still, as you can see, wearing a suit. And if this is your first time here, make sure you press that subscribe button, as well as that bell notification so YouTube can notify you every time I post a video. Okay, so this is what my kitchen looks like. First thing I will do is throw this in here so that it has on a tripod. Try to set this up. So first thing I like to do is take my jacket off. And next thing I like to do is turn the stove on. So I use 3 burners. So I turn all 3 of those on, and then I'll do the rice next. And generally speaking, I'll use about 1.5 of these for the rice. And I don't measure the rice out. I don't measure the water out. I generally just put enough water where I think it's good enough. And then in my fridge, I do the same thing. I just grab, I'm gonna cook with 2 tomatoes. I'm going to use a pepper. I'm gonna use about 1.25 pounds, 1.25 pounds of ground beef. A white onion. And some turkey bacon. Some garlic. And some jalapenos. I think that's it. So the first thing I like to do when I prep is I take out another thing of ground beef or another thing of meat and put it in the fridge. So what I like to do generally is I'll take them out, as I take them out and cook on my lunch break, I'll take them out, set them on the counter because then it's room temperature, and by the time I get home in a few hours, it will be thawed a good degree. So then at that point, when they're slightly thawed, I put them back into the fridge. So the first things I'll do is I'll just open this up and put this into the pan. And the reason I'm doing a video like this is to just show, like, people think meal prepping takes a long time, but in reality it doesn't. Also, when I do wash the vegetables, I like to wash them at the same time because then it just means that I don't have to turn on to try to save time. Next, I'll get the cutting board. I tried to cut through it once just for fun, and I broke my cutting board. So I also like to do 8 pieces of turkey bacon. But I think this is only 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, perfect. I got 8 pieces of turkey bacon. And I will cut this up. And so I will jump back and forth between what I'm doing on the stove and what I'm doing over here in terms of prepping my food. Another thing that I like to do to be more efficient or to be more effective in what I'm doing is I will a lot of times come home, and on the way home I'll put on a podcast, something that I enjoy to listen to. Generally speaking, it's about business or marketing or real estate. So now if you take a look at this, right? So I've got this on. This is about 1.25 pounds of ground beef. That's gonna cook down nicely. I've got the turkey bacon back here and the reason that I cook it separately is because the turkey bacon gets nice and crispy, And I actually sprinkled that on top of my food so that it has a nice little, it adds a lot of texture to it. So then from here, I do tomatoes. And I keep my meal prep containers all in one spot, so it's easy to get them out. And what I like to do is keep them all in here. So I have different size containers, and I have one in here. And then they all have their lids ready to go. So generally speaking, I'll put in multiple different types of vegetables. So I will use, and I'll show you this in a second. I'll use the lids as the place to hold the food. Whoops. Put that here. So I'll use this. I'll cut the tomato up and I'll put it in the lid of the container because then that's one less thing I have to wash. And I'm going to use that lid anyway. And I like to actually cut things differently in terms of what vegetables or meat I'm having. Sometimes I'll cut them in bigger pieces, sometimes I'll cut them in smaller, sometimes I'll cut them in slices. Just because if I'm eating kind of similar food pretty often, it makes it seem or appear that things are a little bit different. And because I do this literally every day, once you start doing this every day, I can almost smell when the stuff on the stove needs to get stirred. So you can tell once you do it a lot, you can kind of see or smell or hear when something is ready to be stirred. Also, it depends on how you like your food cooked. So as you can see, ground beef is coming along nicely. Turkey bacon's coming along nicely. The rice is starting to boil. This is gonna be good. I'll also show you the seasoning I use. So the last couple of days I've been cutting the tomatoes in slices. So today I decided to cut them into little quarter slices to save time. And most of the time what I'll end up doing is finish 97% of what I'm doing and then just leave it on the stove to cool. So now that the tomatoes are cut up, I put them into the lid because this is the lid that I'm going to use for the food. So now this is all ready to go. Generally speaking, I won't cook the tomatoes because that. So now I'm going to do the one of these peppers. So generally speaking, I won't cook the tomatoes. So this is how you do a pepper. Well, this is how I do one that's fast. So you cut it like this, you pull out the seeds, and then from here, instead of cutting this off, you just break the sides off, and this way you get all of the pepper. All that you're left is with this little piece here. And the same thing goes with the pepper. It depends on how I'm feeling that day in terms of how I will cut the pieces of the pepper up. Sometimes I like them in the bigger pieces, sometimes smaller, sometimes in thin slices. The last few days, I've been putting them into shorter slices, so today I'll put them into bigger slices, but thinner like that. Also, every week, generally on Friday or Saturdays, I do my grocery shopping. So when I do my grocery shopping, I like to change up the vegetables, not just for the variety, but more primarily because every week when I go to the store, I want to constantly be adding new foods, not just because it changes up the palette of food from a flavor standpoint, but because that allows me to add other micronutrients into my food. So then I get my pepper ready, and that makes it a lot easier to add. Now it's time to, I can smell that the meat is cooking differently. You know those little nuances you learn when you